Damn it, I'm surrounded by scumbags. Introduction. One day, Feng Yuan suddenly discovered that a group of warblers, birds, and swallows around him were all harboring evil intentions. The cute and well-behaved Bai Fumei's first love was a female scammer who wanted his money. The seductive and sexy anime elder sister wants to suck his masculine female goblin. A virtuous and dignified younger sister is an enemy girl who tries to make him lose his children and grandchildren. The pitiful neighbor who is still alive is a despicable spy who only wants to gather intelligence. Feng Yuan has no other choice. Only through rigorous education. 1. A scumbag seeking wealth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the campus of H University in H Province, Feng Yuan, a third-grade student, rode his bicycle towards the school gate, planning his weekend with his girlfriend in his heart. Feng Yuan's girlfriend's name is Zhang Xiaoyun. She is a sophomore at H Provincial Academy of Fine Arts and is 1 year younger than Feng Yuan. She is a true Bai Fumei. In the first semester of his sophomore year, Feng Yuan ran into Zhang Xiaoyun, a freshman who had just come to H Province to study, at a high-speed railway station. He simply helped her move a gift box and added WX, and everything went smoothly. Zhang Xiaoyun has many advantages, such as simplicity, kindness, liveliness, and versatility. And most importantly, he is beautiful. If a woman pursues a man with a veil, the prerequisite is to look at her face. As for why Zhang Xiaoyun likes him, Feng Yuan still hasn't figured it out yet. Apart from a decent face, Feng Yuan never felt that he had any traits that women liked. Of course, the premise is that Zhang Xiaoyun does not know how wealthy Feng Yuan's family is. As a wealthy second generation from a wealthy family, Feng Yuan admits to being quite low-key and has not shown any signs during at least 3 years of college. Even because of the frugality of clothing, food, housing, and transportation, they are often taken care of by their roommates as impoverished students. At first, he thought that Zhang Xiaoyun had taken a liking to his skin and had never planned a long-distance love affair. He thought that after Bai Fumei entered the university campus, she had too many choices, and naturally would be fond of the new and dislike the old. 2 years have passed, but Zhang Xiaoyun's enthusiasm for him has only increased and not decreased, causing Feng Yuan to have to rethink their future recently. Xiaoyun is such a naive girl, mom should like her. In thought, Feng Yuan arrived at the north gate of the campus and parked his bicycle. A cute girl with brown-yellow long hair, wearing a white short-sleeved bat shirt, denim hot pants, and high-top sports shoes rushed towards him, like a golden-haired dog running towards its owner. There is a word called dog boyfriend, and for Feng Yuan, Zhang Xiaoyun is a true dog girlfriend. Cute, clingy, well-behaved, always full of energy, and can also play some fun with you in bed. The only drawback is probably occasional lack of worldly knowledge and a bit of being silly, but for most men, it is actually an advantage, or rather a bit of being cute. Sometimes Feng Yuan feels that finding such a girlfriend is too sci-fi. As he bumped into his boyfriend's arms, Zhang Xiaoyun, who was only 1.6 meters tall, pressed his head tightly against Feng Yuan's chest. Far away, I miss you so much. Feng Yuan lowered his head and touched her head, didn't he video it every day? Zhang Xiaoyun looked up and muttered his pink cheeks, staring at his watery peach blossom eyes. How can it be the same? Okay. I'll come find you when I have free time in the future. Feng Yuan responded perfunctorily, holding Zhang Xiaoyun's hand and walking towards a silver-white Mercedes-Benz. Arriving at the side of the car, Zhang Xiaoyun threw the car key to Feng Yuan and sat down in the passenger seat. Don't you drive it? According to what Zhang Xiaoyun told Feng Yuan, this Mercedes-Benz was bought by her family to make ends meet in college, which inevitably gave Feng Yuan an illusion. Mercedes-Benz can only make ends meet, so girls from such families shouldn't be looking for money, right? Driving all the way is too tiring. Zhang Xiaoyun shrugged his shoulders and urgently urged Feng Yuan to hurry up. Sitting in the passenger seat, Zhang Xiaoyun always has a bad habit of taking off his shoes and squatting on the seat. After looking back and forth, he simply lay down in the seat and put his feet on the dashboard, wearing only breathable white socks and 2 long legs with white flowers for Feng Yuan to admire. Feng Yuan angrily raised his hand and patted her thigh, causing a wave of white flesh to ripple. Take a good ride. However, Zhang Xiaoyun was not very honest at this moment. She smiled mischievously and directly reached out her foot, her toes restlessly jumping and teasing Feng Yuan's chest. Seeing that Feng Yuan didn't react, her courage grew stronger. First, she walked with her toes around Feng Yuan's neck, then scraped her chin to feel the fine stubble, and then excessively rubbed her feet against Feng Yuan's side face. However, Feng Yuan remained like a motionless Buddha. Even when Zhang Xiaoyun pressed his toes against his thin lips, there was no response. Until he could no longer bear it, Feng Yuan tightly grasped Zhang Xiaoyun's ankle and forcefully folded her body before making her plead for mercy and sit obediently. This was originally a daily interaction between 2 people, and the most expensive anti-peeping film on the car window also gave Feng Yuan confidence. Suddenly, Zhang Xiaoyun's phone rang. Hello. Zhang Xiaoyun picked up the phone and placed it in his ear, muttering a few words with a serious expression. Feng Yuan had never seen such an expression on the face of this lively and cheerful girl before. He followed suit and asked with concern, "What's wrong with Xiaoyun?" Zhang Xiaoyun remained silent and began to cry with her knees crossed. As the girl's crying grew louder and louder, Feng Yuanxin also began to ache. He leaned forward and gently comforted Zhang Xiaoyun in his arms. "Xiaoyun, if you have something to tell me, maybe I can come up with a solution for you." Zhang Xiaoyun hesitated and said, "Far away. My family has gone bankrupt." Feng Yuan was surprised and said, "Bankruptcy, so suddenly?" "Just now my mom called me and said that my dad actually had a cash flow breakdown a long time ago, but he hasn't told me yet. If he can't repay the debt, he will be sued, at least he will go to jail for 20 years. Zhang Xiaoyun sobbed intermittently and said, "I spent over 100,000 yuan on them last month. I'm really not something." Woo-woo. Feng Yuan reached out to wipe the girl's tears and said, "Xiaoyun, don't cry for now. Tell me about uncle's situation first, and how much it will take. It's useless, then money is just an astronomical number for you." Zhang Xiaoyun shook his head and looked for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, as if he had made some kind of determination. "Don't worry, I won't drag you down. I'll drop out of school and go home in a few days to avoid those creditors coming to you for trouble." "Xiaoyun, don't say such things." Seeing the beautiful woman shed tears, Feng Yuan's mind couldn't help but heat up and he said, "I swear in my life that you won't marry me, if not." Hey, I don't want you to say such things either." Zhang Xiaoyun reached out to cover Feng Yuan's mouth, hesitated for a moment, and then burst out a number. 50 million, now at least 50 million is needed to get my dad's company back into operation. 50 million cash flow is not a small amount, but it is still acceptable for Feng Yuan to grit his teeth. Thinking that Zhang Xiaoyun hasn't even asked for a decent birthday gift in the past 2 years, this money will be used as compensation. "Xiaoyun, Just as Feng Yuan was about to speak frankly, a voice suddenly entered his mind. "Is 50 million yuan too little? I heard he has 10 million yuan in pocket money every year." If I had known more points earlier, Feng Yuan thought it was his own hallucination, but his voice came again. "He's hesitating so much, isn't it because he's unwilling to spend even this little money on my mother, this iron rooster? My mother gave you everything for the first time and even made you play for 2 years in vain. What's wrong with asking you for some money?" Feng Yuan swallowed a mouthful of saliva, unable to believe that this was what his normally well-behaved and lovely girlfriend could say. He tentatively asked, "Xiaoyun, what is 1 + 1 equal to?" "Of course it's 3. Are you crazy? Is the stinky man giving you money? Can you say something heartwarming?" Mercedes-Benz is almost due, and I still need to renew the rent. Feng Yuan now had to be certain that what he heard was Zhang Xiaoyun's inner voice. Anger, regret, and unwillingness all surged into my heart in an instant. More than 2 years of love, all TM feeding dogs. 2. The Witch Killed. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Feng Yuan is a rational person who quickly calms down after a brief moment of anger. Regardless of how his superpower, which can hear the voices of others, came about, the current situation is likely to be one of being manipulated. Zhang Xiaoyun knew his family situation from the beginning. Using 2 years to plan for 50 million yuan, there must be more than just Zhang Xiaoyun behind such a long and large scam, and he must have prepared everything, including a plan to run away after being discovered. Feng Yuan really wants to slap Zhang Xiaoyun now and then turn his head and leave, but that would be too cheap. This female scammer who has been playing with his relationship for 2 years must make her pay enough. Xiaoyun, actually I'm quite wealthy. Ah. Zhang Xiaoyun was stunned, his acting skills were not excessive even for a movie queen. Feng Yuan continued, believe me, I can get 50 million, but I just need to communicate with my family. Zhang Xiaoyun smiled bitterly and said, Yuan, aren't you just making up a lie to comfort me? Feng Yuan opened his phone to retrieve his bank account balance. Before Zhang Xiaoyun could count the number of digits, he continued, can you give me a bank account so that I can transfer the money as soon as possible? Zhang Xiaoyun pursed his lips and said, far away, I don't want to implicate you. In the past, hearing such words would have moved Feng Yuan deeply, but now he hates it so much that his teeth itch. Are you really capable of acting? Do we still need to say such things between us? I was planning to tell you today that I'm taking you to see my parents during the summer vacation. Far away. Zhang Xiaoyun sobbed softly again and said, I have sent you my father's company information, financial details, and so on. Even if I borrow this money from you, if I can't repay it. If it's not up yet, then it's not up yet. What you said is completely unnecessary. Can I still trust you? Such a big scam, Zhang Xiaoyun and the team behind him will definitely prepare all the materials, and Feng Yuan is too lazy to take a look. It's easier to deceive than I imagined, it made my mother feel a bit embarrassed. Just treat it as compensation for 2 years of sleeping for nothing, I hope you don't hold too much grudge when the time comes. Over 2 years of love, if you can't take it easy on me, I might still be sad for a few more days. Where is the best place to go when I have the money, beautiful country? Singapore. Europe people tend to make excuses to alleviate their sense of guilt, and Zhang Xiaoyun shares this idea and begins planning for his future life. Feng Yuan became increasingly nauseous as he listened, unable to stay in this car for a moment. Xiaoyun, I won't be with you today. I need to contact my family for money. Zhang Xiaoyun nodded obediently, trying to snuggle up in Feng Yuan's arms as usual, but was discreetly avoided by the man. After getting off the car, Feng Yuan contacted the private detective and met tomorrow. He returned to his dormitory in a dull manner, where 3 roommates were engaged in a fierce battle on the breeze island. Give me cigarettes, give me cigarettes. Damn it. Don't dodge your own people. You can't understand your skills for the rest of your life, even if you don't know how to do that, Lena. Roars echoed one after another, and a thin and weak boy wearing glasses was the first to notice Feng Yuan entering the door. Crazy, why did you come back so early and not accompany your girlfriend? Feng Yuan said nonchalantly, she has something to attend to. Do you guys drink tonight? Long. Where are we going to drink? Last time, the roasted whole lamb was good. I'll pay for it. Madman, do you have the money to buy us drinks? I just won a few thousand in the supermarket lottery, it should be enough to have a drink. I'll go, adoptive father. The 3 of them spoke in unison, putting down their mice and rushing over to comfort and warm up. Feng Yuan casually responded, just like usual. But after all, he didn't have Zhang Xiaoyun's impeccable acting skills, and Wang Chenglong still saw that something was wrong with Feng Yuan. I found a time to schedule Feng Yuan alone outside the room and said, "Crazy, is there something wrong with your girlfriend?" Feng Yuan didn't expect his roommate to have such a keen sense of smell and nodded without refuting. "No matter what the problem is, I want to be more open-minded and stay sober at night." Wang Chenglong didn't ask much and comforted him briefly before returning to his dormitory to continue playing games, while also casually sending someone a message. "Senior sister, it seems that there is a problem with Feng Yuan's relationship." At 6:30 in the evening, Feng Yuan came to the reserved roasted whole lamb box in advance, but found that someone came earlier than him. "Junior, you're here." At a height of 1.78 meters, Bai Luoluo is a standard model with a walking figure. Her legs are in perfect golden ratio, and her facial features are dignified. Even if she wears an exaggerated anime cultural shirt and heavy black framed glasses, it is hard to cover up her ladylike temperament. After all, beautiful women are beautiful women. As long as there is no exaggeration in makeup, there will be no claim that their appearance is sealed. "Senior sister, why are you there?" Feng Yuan knew the consultant well and was very certain that Wang Chenglong had betrayed him, but he had to pretend to be foolish when it was time to do so. Bai Luoluo has had a favorable impression of Feng Yuan since his first day on campus. If it weren't for Zhang Xiaoyun's interference in his sophomore year, the relationship between the two could have been uncertain. Even after Feng Yuan made it clear that he had a girlfriend, Bai Luoluo's attack did not stop, and even developed eyeliner to his bedroom. "How long have you been here, senior?" "Pull out a chair and sit down. Find the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Feng Yuanwu has nothing to say but to talk to. Do you think I'm a cannibalistic fairy in your eyes, Junior? Do you have to sit farthest from me?" Bai Luoluo got up and sat down next to Feng Yuan, completely unaware of what it meant to be reserved and shy. As she sat over, Feng Yuan realized that she was wearing a JK short skirt and a pair of translucent black silk knee-high socks under the hem, echoing the foxtail tattoo on her left thigh's absolute field. This was also the main reason why Feng Yuan dared not agree to her love. A woman with a tattoo on her thigh is anime. In this modern social environment, who is not afraid of it? Compared to before, Zhang Xiaoyun, who was clean and tidy, appeared much more pleasing to the eye. "Junior, do you always mind if I have a tattoo?" "I can't explain it clearly, but I'm not that kind of person," said Bai Luoluo with a tone of grievance and a pair of fox-like eyes flowing with light. "Senior sister, I didn't mean that. It's almost 7 o'clock. Aren't Ah Long and the others here yet?" Feng Yuan tried to shift the topic away. "They won't come, I have booked another restaurant for them." Bai Luoluo leaned his whole body towards Feng Yuan, and under the dim light, Feng Yuan realized that the woman's thin short sleeves seemed to be a vacuum. "Isn't it okay to have me drink with you alone? When we get drunk, we can do a lot of things." Bai Luo fell to Feng Yuan's ear and lightly spat out the orchid. His thigh actively pressed against his palm, and the warm breath brushed against his earlobe, stirring his nerves. A voice suddenly rang out in Feng Yuan's mind. "What a rich yang energy! Is this the holy yang divine body? Hurry up! It's almost time for this palace to suck you dry." The Feng Yuan 3 views suddenly exploded. "You are really a fairy. 3. Drive away tigers and swallow wolves." You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yang Qi, holy yang divine body, similar to the term Feng Yuan, he only saw it when reading fantasy novels, but now he can't help but not believe it. After all, being able to hear people's voices is already outrageous enough. This palace has not been easy to cultivate for 3,000 years, so it is necessary to use his holy yang divine body to achieve perfection. Afterwards, the palace will repair his tomb and erected a monument to worship his longevity tablet, which is not considered unfair to him having obtained the body of this palace. It's not in vain for him to go through this world once good guy, Zhang Xiaoyun is just seeking wealth. You're trying to kill yourself. How enjoyable it feels to sleep with you. Did I end up risking my life for Feng Yuan? Senior, why don't we go somewhere else to drink? Realizing that the other party was an old fairy with a history of 3,000 years, Feng Yuan dared not act rashly. To show obedience, he took the initiative to knead the long legs of Bai Luo and He Si. Not to mention anything else, the feel is on par with Zhang Xiaoyun's fleshy legs. With such dishonest hands, why are you still calling me, senior sister, in your mouth? Bai Luo snorted and said, where do you want to go and drink? Feng Yuan suggested, how about the hotel across the street from the south gate of the school? This is the first time they've chosen such a rundown hotel. Then another day. No need, he will obediently obey your orders today. It's not too late, we can't let him run away. Two people, or one person and one demon holding hands, left the private room and walked slowly towards the school gate. When they were only 100 meters away from their destination, Feng Yuan suddenly suggested. Luo, I heard people say you're still a cozer. Cos, what did you do? 8. Eightfold. Eightfold divine son. Bai Luo raised his eyebrows slightly and said, why, are you also playing with the Genshin Impact? Feng Yuan chuckled and said, I don't play Genshin Impact, but I want to play Genpai. I hate you, you're not serious. Dogs and men are indeed virtuous. Forget it, this palace's great mercy will make you die a charming death. Bai Luo released the seal and said, I'll go back and get the sea suit. You go open a good room and wait for me first. Can you prepare more sets for Luo? I want to try them all. Feng Yuan rubbed his hands excitedly, looking impatient. Okay. Bai Luo's words should be good, but his heart only curses. Disgusting thing, I'll see later if I don't suck you up. Watching Bai Luo leave, Feng Yuan quickly took a detour back to the dormitory and took a cold shower, collapsing on the bed. What he experienced in less than a day is even more magical than what he has experienced in the past 20 years. Even if his first girlfriend is a scammer, it's okay. He was also targeted by a fairy, and his life may be at risk at any time. However, depending on the situation, Bai Luo may not dare to take action against him in public, so he must be careful not to walk alone these days. The shaking messages on her phone were daily greetings sent by Zhang Xiaoyun, but she remained calm and didn't even mention money in the greetings. Feng Yuan, who usually replies to his girlfriend's messages in seconds, can't type a word with his fingers on the keyboard until Bai Luo sends a message. Bai Luo. I collapsed downstairs, what is the room number? Feng Yuan suddenly received a flash of inspiration and typed a reply to Bai Luo. Luo, I bought an umbrella at the supermarket. Is safety the top priority? Bai Luo. Isn't there a hotel? Feng Yuan. It's too small and doesn't match my size. Bai Luo. Blushing, expression, should I open a good room first? Shortly after, Feng Yuan received a room number and a selfie in a C.suit, half concealed and half exposed, from Bai Luo. Feng Yuan. Do you still have lustful expressions? Bai Luo. I see you're in a hurry. Several more erotic photos were sent, with even bolder angles and poses, which really made Feng Yuan's blood boil. He took a deep breath to calm down and then clicked on Zhang Xiaoyun's dialog box. Are you Feng Yuan's girlfriend? Zhang Xiaoyun. Who are you, Feng Yuanren? Why is his phone in your hands? Feng Yuan. Guess why his phone is in my hands. Zhang Xiaoyun. What do you mean? Select the photo sent by Bai Luo and copy it. After clicking forward, Feng Yuan closes his phone and yawns to sleep, only waiting for tomorrow to watch the play. I fell asleep at 8 o'clock and woke up groggily around 4 o'clock in the morning. The two people with girlfriends in the dormitory were not there, leaving only a single dog named Xiao Qian playing games all night. Qian Gu, haven't you slept yet? If you win, go to sleep. Zhao Qian stared intently at the computer, only to turn around and remind Feng Yuan when his head was exposed. Take a look at your phone, it was all fried last night. Is that so? Feng Yuan does not rush or slow down the startup, and the message shows 99+. He didn't rush to read the messages sent by the two women, but instead clicked on the campus confession wall, where the most lively post was about Bai Luo. The post vividly tells the story of a boy who, despite knowing that he had a girlfriend, still stubbornly lingered and seduced him into opening a room while wearing a cosplay. In the end, her girlfriend rushed into the hotel room and caught her, slapping her in the face several times. Open WeChat again. Feng Yuan first clicked on the Zhang Xiaoyun dialog box, and there were a total of 103 unread messages. From questioning where he was to questioning what he meant, and finally sending a pitiful crying voice. Feng Yuan. I'm sorry Xiaoyun, I can't say it clearly on my phone. Can you chat in person? Unexpectedly, at 4 a.m., Zhang Xiaoyun was still online and received a message in seconds. See you at that old place. The old place of the two is a high-end apartment building in the city center. In order to consolidate their rich and beautiful character, Zhang Xiaoyun has been paying the rent. Every time Feng Yuan tries to share, she refuses. In the past, Feng Yuan was still deeply moved. He thought to himself that his wife was so married, so why bother? Looking back carefully now, I am simply a clown. At around 6 o'clock in the morning, Feng Yuan pushed open the door of the apartment, and Zhang Xiaoyun, dressed in pink rabbit pajamas, sat on the sofa. When he saw Feng Yuan enter, he twisted his body. I need to show an attitude towards this matter today and let him coax me first. It has to be said that in front of Feng Yuan, Zhang Xiaoyun played the role of girlfriend to the fullest. When to be sensible and considerate, when to have a temper tantrum, and when to hold the scale just right, let Feng Yuan completely immerse himself in her gentle hometown. Approaching her, Feng Yuan sighed and sighed. It's strange that he didn't coax me. What's going on? Seeing Feng Yuan's worried expression, Zhang Xiaoyun couldn't help but panic and took the initiative to inquire, Yuan, is it something wrong? Feng Yuan sighed and said, last night's incident was a misunderstanding. Xiaoyun, do you want me to explain it to you? You don't need to explain, I believe you, just like you believe me, Zhang Xiaoyun said, shaking his head repeatedly. What kind of misunderstanding? I'm too lazy to care about you. Don't delay my money. Feng Yuan looked puzzled and said, Xiaoyun, my name is not written on the confession wall, but almost the whole school knows that Bai Luo likes me. Now, all the teachers and students in the school think that Feng Yuan is a scumbag. The school leader has my mother's friend, and now she knows about this. Just now she called me and had a big opinion, saying that when you do something like this, you act like a social slut, completely ignoring the consequences and my reputation. Done. Zhang Xiaoyun's face turned deathly gray. 4. Teen crime. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I actually don't want to either. It was my roommate in the dormitory who couldn't bear to see it and started hitting someone. I didn't even know about the confession wall. When Zhang Xiaoyun tried to explain, the initiative came to Feng Yuan's hands. He sat next to Zhang Xiaoyun and held her soft and fair little hand, saying, I also explained to my mother that you are not that kind of girl, but she just doesn't listen and thinks you are a reckless and aggressive woman. So, what should we do? We can't afford to fall short, they will kill me. At this time, the more panic, the bigger the flaw. Stabilizing the man is the key, and we will take a long view of his mother matters. After a brief panic, Zhang Xiaoyun quickly regained her composure. She cried for another second and said, it's also my fault that I didn't stop my roommate at the time. If my aunt doesn't like me, then she doesn't like me. Don't worry, we can break up. Coincidentally, my family's bankruptcy won't affect you. Feng Yuan had to be convinced. In just 1 minute, he could distinguish the priority of the problem and calmly come up with solutions in the face of danger. How on earth was he targeted by such a highly professional female scammer? My family has always kept their wealth hidden. Where did this female scammer gather information from? In addition, Zhang Xiaoyun also mentioned them in his heart, and as expected, it was a gang that committed the crime. Such a gang can be said to have posed a threat to the safety of his family. Capturing Zhang Xiaoyun alone is definitely not enough. We must find everyone and catch them all. Feng Yuan said in a straight voice, Xiaoyun, I think it's necessary to arrange a meeting between you and my mother to clear up any misunderstandings. As long as she recognizes you as your daughter.In.Law, don't say 50 million yuan. Even if she buys your father's bankrupt company, it will be a matter of 1 sentence. Zhang Xiaoyun didn't expect Feng Yuan to suddenly come here. After pondering for a while, he asked in response, Yuan, how long do you plan to arrange for us to meet? Just 1 week later, can you have your parents come too? My parents. Can't we? After hesitating for a while, Zhang Xiaoyun nodded in agreement. We can't let him see the problem. Let's agree first and then go back to them to discuss the specific plan for the meeting. Also, the old lady is running out of money and needs to find a way to cut some flesh from him. Far away, this apartment may have to be checked out next month, and even if my dad goes bankrupt, I won't be able to pay rent. Without saying a word, Feng Yuan turned to 30,000 and said, use it for now. If it's not enough, ask me again. If the amount of fraud reaches more than 3,000 yuan and a case is filed, 30,000 to 100,000 yuan is considered a huge amount and shall be sentenced to fixed term imprisonment of not less than 3 years but not more than 10 years. With this transfer, there is basically a minimum guarantee. When the time comes, we will find a lawyer to handle it. If you don't get a 10-year ban, I won't give you my surname. Far away, I can't use so much. Xiaoyun, you are pampered and spoiled. I can't bear to see you suffer. As Feng Yuan spoke, he reached his hand into Zhang Xiaoyun's rabbit pajamas. The anger that had been stirred up by Luoluo Yanzhao last night has not yet subsided. The ready-made one is perfect. Zhang Xiaoyun should just relax and start cooperating as usual. Last night, he just hooked up with other women. How come he still has energy? Is this man a cow? Forget it, I'm not at a disadvantage anyway. How did he move his hand to that place? The noon sun shone into the room, and Zhang Xiaoyun opened his eyes slightly, looking at the man beside him with extremely melancholic eyes. On weekdays, Feng Yuan would stop whenever he shouted for pain. But today's Feng Yuan is simply not a person, let alone a person. Allowing her to cry and shout, she only replied with 2 words. Hold on. Unfortunately, I thought you were a good man, but I didn't expect you to start treating me like a playful toy now. If I really want to take you 50 million, you still have to let my mother treat you like XXX. Feng Yuan originally wanted to take a nap, but was annoyed by Zhang Xiaoyun's inner voice. He decided to keep pulling the woman back into his arms. Far away, let me have a good sleep. Let's talk about it tonight, okay? Zhang Xiaoyun tried to act coquettishly and make Feng Yuan let him go, but the response he received was still only 2 words. Use your mouth. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Feng Yuan left the apartment. Zhang Xiaoyun drove her rented Mercedes-Benz to a residential house in the suburbs. After carefully confirming that there was no tail following, she entered the password and went to the second-floor room, where a woman, 3 men, and 4 others waited. The head of the desk is a tall man in his 40s, nicknamed Lao Chen, who is the mastermind and boss of this scam. The beautiful Cheongsam woman standing on his left side, nicknamed Yanzi, trained Zhang Xiaoyun in skills such as makeup, dressing up, etiquette, and talent. There is also a pair of bald male twins, each named Xiongzi Huzi, responsible for managing equipment, handling miscellaneous tasks, and handling specific aftermath. The 5 people did not know each other's real names, including the name Zhang Xiaoyun, which was fake. 3 years ago, old Chen found Zhang Xiaoyun, who had been expelled from high school and wandered the streets, and asked Swallow to spend a year training her to look like Bai Fumei, and then launched this scam. After the agreement was reached, 55 million people were divided equally, and from then on, they went their separate ways and no longer contacted each other. The Swallow spoke first and said, "Why did you come this late?" Zhang Xiaoyun couldn't help but say, "What can I do? Go find Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com and take care of him." The Swallow chuckled and joked, "If I want my mother to be 20 years younger, will this good thing happen to you?" Good news. Zhang Xiaoyun couldn't help but feel angry and said, "You don't know what Feng Yuan did to me just now. I'm afraid I'll die on that bed." "Pretend yourself, I see you're enjoying it." "You. Stop making noise." Seeing 2 women about to argue, old Chen slammed the table and shouted loudly to stop them, saying seriously, "I'm not interested in hearing about your and that young master's dirty business. Let's talk about the situation." After reporting the general situation, Zhang Xiaoyun asked, "Which of you plays my parents and goes to meet Feng Yuan's mother?" Old Chen didn't answer, but frowned and asked, "Did you have enough to eat last night? Who did he have a room with? Why did he go over and beat someone up?" The Swallow raised the issue again and said, "There's no need to ask. I'm sure she's jealous. I'm afraid this little girl isn't really passionate, and she's probably thinking about how to sell us and marry herself into a wealthy family as a wealthy lady. The matter has come to an end, you can come up with a solution." Zhang Xiaoyun didn't bother with the Swallow anymore, but threw the difficult problem back to old Chen. No matter how much sarcastic words the Swallows say, it's useless. In the end, their team will have to be led by old Chen. Old Chen sighed and said, "Swallow, we can only go once." The Swallow worried and said, "Is there any risk of exposure if 2 more people are involved? Now I'm just about to die, and I have to bite the bullet. In addition, Feng Yuan's his mother is no ordinary person. I don't trust this girl to meet her alone." Old Chen took a deep breath and spoke seriously. "Be fully prepared, whether to get rich or go to jail is in this matter." 5. Make the scumbag gasp for breath. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At 6 o'clock in the evening, the coffee shop outside H South Gate. This is her photo. This is her school and dormitory door number. This is her license plate number. Feng Yuan handed the information about Zhang Xiaoyun to Wu Er sitting in front of him and offered, 2 million, I want all her real information. Wu Er, who is over 40 years old, has been working in this industry for 5 years after retiring from the criminal investigation team. Today, this business far exceeds his total income in the past. Despite his joy, he still maintains caution. "Feng, why don't you report to the police? I have many acquaintances in the police force. If Feng needs anything, I can help you introduce him." Feng Yuan chuckled and said, "Let me tell you this, Zhang Xiaoyun hasn't used a penny from me for 2 whole years. Even when I transferred 30,000 yuan to her in the morning, she hasn't clicked on the payment yet, which doesn't constitute a condition for filing a case. She's all vigilant about this." "Do you think calling the police is useful?" Wu Er asked. "How did you find out about that classmate that she was a scammer?" Feng Yuan warned, "Do you check her or me? The recommender can tell me you understand the rules very well." Wu Er awkwardly scratched his head and didn't ask any more questions. He picked up the information on the table and stood up to leave. After Wu Er walked out of the coffee shop for a few minutes, a tall figure slowly walked in and sat down in front of Feng Yuan. Bai Luoluo took off his mask, and the bruises on the corners of his mouth were clearly visible. He had a pair of fox eyes that were both pitiful and helpless. Today, he must give an explanation to this palace. Feng Yuan pretended to feel heartbroken and asked, "Does falling still hurt?" "What do you say? If it weren't for the crowds yesterday, my palace would have dug out that slut's heart and lungs." And this damn man, dare to play tricks on my palace. After everything is done, my palace will kill your whole family to vent their anger. Feng Yuan felt a chill in his neck as he listened. Compared to this old fairy, Zhang Xiaoyun, who only sought wealth, he couldn't be too gentle. However, from this, Feng Yuan also confirmed one thing. Bai Luoluo would never dare to take action in crowded places, probably because he was afraid of something. I didn't expect my girlfriend to have implanted surveillance software in my phone, which can view my chat records in real time. Feng Yuan found an outrageous excuse and began to test Bai Luoluo's attitude. Bai Luoluo spoke with a strange expression. Do your girlfriend really care about you? You deserve to suffer from such a woman on the street. Please obediently let our palace release you. Feng Yuan spoke up and revealed his feelings. Actually, I can't stand her for a long time. I've been wanting to find a chance to break up with her, but... Just what? Half the way, you must be so anxious. Demon. Feng Yuan waved his hand and said, stop talking, stop talking. Anyway, I apologize to Luoluo for your kindness and thank you for your dedication to me. Riddleman 4000 plus, Bai Luoluo gritted his teeth and pretended to be gentle and considerate, saying, this cannot be said, that cannot be said. It seems that I am still an outsider in your heart after all. I didn't mean that, it's just. Feng Yuan hesitated for a long time and asked, Luoluo, do you believe in fate? Bai Luoluo muttered, fate. Feng Yuan's timing is approaching, and he starts pretending to talk big. I have saved a white fox since I was young. Later, a fortune teller told me that when I reached adulthood, the white fox would repay me and marry me, which was destined for me. Men in the world are really obsessed with lust. We fox demons only want to suck up your essence and only repay our kindness when we are full. Bai Luoluo smiled and asked, Feng Yuan, don't you think that Zhang Xiaoyun is your destined white fox? Feng Yuan nodded and said, no mistake. Why? When I returned home in the second semester of my freshman year, I met that Taoist again. He told me that the white fox had already appeared, and the next day I met Xiaoyun on the high-speed train, as if everything was really destined. Feudal superstition kills people. No, isn't the white fox palace ready? Made. Bai Luoluo's eyes rolled and he said, Feng Yuan, haven't you ever thought that there was another person like Bai Hu? Seeing the foolish fox hooked on Feng Yuan, he was overjoyed and continued to seduce. Who else can there be? Think about it, you've been with Zhang Xiaoyun for 2 years now. If she were a white fox, why wouldn't she reveal her true identity in front of you? Perhaps she's not mentally prepared yet. Humph, I see you're just being trapped by her. Bai Luoluo let out a coquettish snort, and his heart kept murmuring. Wait, sooner or later, this palace will show you what the real white fox is. The goal was achieved, and Feng Yuan found an excuse to bid farewell. Before I could return to the dormitory, a prompt sound came from my phone. I took it out and saw that it was Zhang Xiaoyun clicking to receive payment. It seems that we are really short of money. The other party had been vigilant for 2 years, but today they suddenly dared to accept his money. Feng Yuan had reason to judge that Zhang Xiaoyun, or the team behind Zhang Xiaoyun, should be in a predicament of insufficient funds. Feng Yuan. Is 30,000 enough for you to use? Zhang Xiaoyun. Enough, I should also learn to be frugal. Feng Yuan. Isn't there still me? You can be as extravagant as before. Zhang Xiaoyun. Don't say we're not married yet. Even if we get married, I have to rely on myself, otherwise I'll be looked down upon by my aunt. Feng Yuan sneered. It seemed that the female scammer was preparing to change her character and develop a new way of playing, so she fell for the trap. Feng Yuan. Xiaoyun, can I introduce you to part-time jobs? Zhang Xiaoyun. No need, I can find a job on my own. Feng Yuan clicked on the voice input and said in an extremely dissatisfied tone, does Xiaoyun treat me as your boyfriend and refuse me to do this for you? Zhang Xiaoyun over there was probably scared by Feng Yuan's attitude, and after a while, he replied with the word, good. The next day, Zhang Xiaoyun was taken by Feng Yuan to a car wash shop. The shop owner, Feng Kai, was a retired military officer and an old friend of Feng Yuan's father. Xiaofeng hasn't seen you for a long time, have you thought about Uncle Feng? Feng Kai greeted him with a smile and glanced at Zhang Xiaoyun who was following him, asking, this is Xiaofeng, the classmate you are looking for part-time jobs with. Feng Yuan nodded and said, Uncle Feng, just follow what I said yesterday. Feng Kai Lu was in a dilemma and said, is that really the case? The two of them are still wearing couple shoes, and the rattan ring on their wrists is also a couple's style. The relationship between them is self-evident. Feng Yuan leaned into Feng Kai's ear and whispered, Uncle Feng, I just want to train and temper her, so that she can endure some hardships and change the young lady's temper. Don't be polite to her. If she wants to be lazy, show her attitude of training in the army. Okay. Feng Kai gritted his head and agreed, but you must make it clear afterwards, so that when I go to have a wedding banquet, the bride won't blame me. Of course, thank you, Uncle Feng. Give Zhang Xiaoyun to Feng Kai, and Feng Yuan shake his hand and leave. When Zhang Xiaoyun came back to the car wash shop at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, he was kneeling on the ground washing the car mat. He was so tired that he couldn't stand up straight, and Feng Kai was still scolding him on the side. Don't procrastinate, hurry up. If you don't finish work, I still have to finish work. Zhang Xiaoyun once wanted to give up his responsibilities, but unfortunately, Feng Yuan had already explained it beforehand. Uncle Feng is my dad's best friend. Don't make him angry. He's going to say two bad things about you in front of my dad, that immortal is difficult to save. After Zhang Xiaoyun finished washing dozens of car mats, it was already dark, and Feng Yuan honked the horn to signal her to come and board the car. Seeing Feng Yuan, Zhang Xiaoyun felt like seeing a life-saving straw. He almost crawled to the front passenger seat and leaned back, exhausted to the point where he couldn't say a word. How does it feel to work? Can you persist? You still have the face to ask, at least you are a wealthy second generation. How could you be so embarrassed to let your girlfriend do such rough work when looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com? Thinking in his heart, Zhang Xiaoyun finally had to nod his head honestly. A sensible and well-behaved character was originally her weapon for capturing Feng Yuan, but now it has become a shackle she has bound herself. If you can persist, it's good. This car wash shop is not far from your school anyway. Come over after class and I'll ask Uncle Feng to give you a higher salary. Do you have to come every day? Are you really not afraid of my mother dying from exhaustion? Zhang Xiaoyun is almost desperate. Can't we? Okay. Okay. Zhang Xiaoyun gritted her teeth and agreed, only to see the vehicle passing by her university gate. Where are we going? Aren't you taking me back to school? Feng Yuan said calmly, go to the hotel. I have already booked a room. Hotel. After I finish my job, I still have to be done by you. What do you really think of me as? If he continues to behave like yesterday, I'm afraid my mother will be ruined by him. Feng Yuan took out another box of pills and handed them over. Take them first, they will be effective for 48 hours. Zhang Xiaoyun couldn't control his expression and said, you want me to take medicine? Isn't he always wearing an umbrella on weekdays? Why don't you give me back to eat? Feng Yuan smiled and said, don't worry, it's okay to do it once or twice. For the sake of 50 million, I endured it. Zhang Xiaoyun squeezed out 2 pills and swallowed them whole in his mouth. Stinky man, when I get tough, I don't even drink water when taking medicine. Feng Yuan listened happily and reached out to rub Zhang Xiaoyun's head. Don't you always say, I won't accompany you on weekdays, so I've decided. I will definitely accompany you enough these 2 days. 6. 3,000 years of fox demon path is still shallow. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the morning, the hotel's self-service breakfast restaurant. Zhang Xiaoyun looked at the porridge in the bowl, which was hard to swallow at the moment. She drank too much of such things last night. After pretending to take 2 bites, he pushed it aside and whispered to Feng Yuan. Have you made any arrangements for meeting your mother? Feng Yuan buried his head in eating steamed buns and responded vaguely, not yet. Xiaoyun, what are your plans? Zhang Xiaoyun hesitated and said, can we postpone the meeting time? My parents have been exhausted by the bankruptcy of the company and are currently too busy. How long? I'm not sure, can you wait for my message? Old Chen only said that he needed more time to prepare and didn't give a definite letter. Isn't that difficult for me? What if his mother gets impatient? I have to find a way to stabilize him. Zhang Xiaoyun felt uneasy in his heart and even pretended to be obedient on his face. If Auntie has any objections. It's okay. Feng Yuan put down his bun and interrupted Zhang Xiaoyun, pretending to be concerned and asking, I can afford to wait for time. Is it possible that your father's company won't have any problems without capital injection for a long time? Zhang Xiaoyun shook his head and said, it's not urgent, my dad will solve it. Feng Yuan raised his eyebrows and eyes slightly and said, it's strange. It's the first time I've heard that a company doesn't need money urgently after bankruptcy. I'm not sure either. He won't see any flaws, will he? Zhang Xiaoyun's heart was pounding, and Feng Yuan immediately said, yes, you young lady, who is not diligent in all aspects and does not distinguish between grains and grains, cannot be clear about your father's company's business. You are not diligent in your limbs and don't distinguish between grains and grains. When my mother was 10 years old and started doing odd jobs on the street, you were still playing house with people. Zhang Xiaoyun playfully stuck out her tongue, trying to sneak through the level and shift the topic. In the past, this move could be considered 100 attempts in front of Feng Yuan. I'll wait for your message, Xiaoyun. The female fraudster was extremely vigilant, and Feng Yuan was afraid of revealing her true identity in further discussions, so she decided to take advantage of the situation. He reached out and kneaded Zhang Xiaoyun's pink face, praising him with a smile, Xiaoyun, you are so cute. The more I look at you, the more I like you. Early in the morning, don't be so cheesy. Then tell me, when am I the cutest? Can you handle it lightly and knead your face as if it were dough, especially when I rolled my eyes last night? Zhang Xiaoyun withdrew his face and muttered, humph, you stinky rascal, I'm ignoring you. Feng Yuan smiled even more and said, just kidding, don't you get angry. I'll be with you tonight, okay? Zhang Xiaoyun was startled and couldn't help but tremble in his legs when he recalled last night. I still have art homework, and I may have to be at school these days. Please spare me, let me rest for 2 days. Seemingly afraid of getting angry with Feng Yuan, Zhang Xiaoyun stood up and came to his side. He looked up and whispered in his ear, I'm going online to buy some clothes these days. What do you like to see, Yuan? Why are our old husband and wife still playing that kind of game? I just want to spend more time with you. If you don't have time, it's okay. Feng Yuan was originally meant to tease Zhang Xiaoyun. As a university dog, he still has a lot of homework, so how can he maintain his authority night and night? Far away, you're so kind. The stinky man speaks well, but my mother's butt still hurts. Zhang Xiaoyun snuggled into Feng Yuan's arms, but Feng Yuan didn't have the heart to get too tired of her now. He stood up and urged him to leave. Send Zhang Xiaoyun back to school, and Feng Yuan happens to catch the first class at 9.30. As a third-year student in the Department of Ancient Chinese, Feng Yuan felt a headache every day as he watched a bunch of ignorant people, and his class was basically in a state of disrepair. Especially now that summer vacation is less than a month away, my soul has long since flown away. My phone was scrolling through the forum when suddenly a picture message popped up, and the sender was Bai Luo. Feng Yuan became very vigilant and looked left and right, confirming that no one around him dared to secretly open the picture. However, the scale greatly disappointed him. That's it. The white falling in the photo is dazzling, with snow white hair reaching her waist. The bold red hanfu long dress is embroidered with lifelike phoenix, and the strong color contrast between red and white is not at all inconsistent with her, only showing a noble aura that repels people from thousands of miles away. What attracts Feng Yuan's attention more than clothing is the white fur on her wrist, a pair of furry fox ears on her head, and several fluffy, snow-white fox tails behind her. Even if the photo is static, it seems like the fox's tail can be felt swaying slightly with the rhythm of white falling breath, completely unlike the inferior plugins or pendants on online stores. Bai Luo. Does it look good? Feng Yuan. Why were you at the hotel? Who took the picture for you? Bai Luo. Guess what, are you jealous? When a man is jealous of himself, it always gives a woman a different sense of satisfaction. Even a fox spirit who has lived for 3,000 years cannot avoid vulgarity. Just as Bai Luo thought that Feng Yuan would be asking anxiously, he didn't wait for Feng Yuan's reply for 10 minutes. Bai Luo. My roommate and I are participating in a club activity, and the photo was taken by her. There is no other man in the room. Bai Luo. Feng Yuan, don't always think that I am that kind of person. I will explain the tattoo matter to you clearly one day. Bai Luo. Don't reply to the message. I apologize to you, okay? I shouldn't have teased you. Bai Luo. I made a mistake with the emoji. The child is holding hands. Watching the series of messages sent by Bai Luo, Feng Yuan's heart was filled with joy. The fox demon path that has been around for 3,000 years is nothing like this, and it cannot be stabilized without a reply in 10 minutes. Feng Yuan estimates that Bai Luo has not had much interaction with people, or rather with men. If you look for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, you can easily deceive them with just one level A. Feng Yuan. I'm not angry. The teacher just asked me a question. Bai Luo. Really? Those who are truly not angry never say they are not angry. Bai Luo is extremely afraid and apologizes again. Bai Luo. I really didn't mean it. Next time I'm joking, I will definitely hold on to the scale. Feng Yuan. Don't worry about falling. I even have a girlfriend myself, how dare I ask you anything? The more a man says this, the more flustered Bai Luo's heart becomes. She was very clear that the reason why Feng Yuan chose Zhang Xiaoyun over her was because she felt that the young lady was clean. Bai Luo. Feng Yuan, believe me, I am truly a traditional girl. For 3,000 years, it must have been from the Western Zhou dynasty to the present day. Can it not be traditional? Feng Yuan. Do you have anything else to do with Luo? I still have to continue my classes. If there's nothing else, I won't talk for now. Bai Luo. Feng Yuan, can I treat you to lunch today? When a man has no interest in chatting with you, the problem becomes big. The news came, but Feng Yuan deliberately ignored it and clicked on the forum to continue scrolling. Bai Luo in the hotel began to feel restless, unable to determine whether Feng Yuan was angry or really focused on class. She sent a message every 10 minutes, and the result was nothing but sinking into the sea. Sun Fang, her roommate in the same room as her, couldn't bear to look down and forced her to sit down. Luo, you have such good conditions. Why do you have to hang on this tree in Feng Yuan? I don't think he takes you seriously at all. Bai Luo shook her head, unable to explain clearly to outsiders. Sun Fang, could you help me push the activity? I need to go back to school and explain it clearly to Feng Yuan. In the past few days, I have finally made progress in my relationship with Feng Yuan, and I cannot afford to be empty-handed. 7. Private room photo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As noon approached, after finishing 3 classes in the morning, Feng Yuan finally opened WX. There were already over 60 messages sent by Bai Luo. Just as he was pondering how to respond, the protagonist had already arrived in front of him. Perhaps in order to change Feng Yuan's stereotype of himself, Bai Luo holds a book in her arms, wears a simple summer floral skirt, with a section of white socks exposed under her pink and blue sneakers, and then matches it with a long fried dough twists braid and black frame glasses. She is really like a literary girl who doesn't eat people's fireworks. Feng Yuan, what are your plans for noon? This palace dresses up like this to personally come to you, you must give some face. Bai Luo pretended to be shy and lowered his head to avoid the gaze around him. The controversy surrounding the confession wall has not yet passed, and classmates around them can't help but start gossiping again. However, for the current Feng Yuan, these are all minor issues. The more people are watching, the more they can ensure their safety. I was just about to send a message to find you, let me treat you to a meal, as an apology for what happened the night before yesterday. Bai Luo saw Feng Yuan's expression as usual and even offered to treat him to a meal, feeling a sigh of relief in his heart. It seems that he is really studying seriously, not intentionally not replying to my message. Just eating alone is not enough, we need to find a way to take him to a deserted place. One person, one demon left the teaching building, like a couple strolling around the university campus. The weather in June was hot, but Feng Yuan felt cool beside Bai Luo. Thinking that the witch had used her cultivation, he probed, it's so cool by your side in Luo, like blowing an air conditioner. Bai Luo smiled slightly and said, is that so? I like coolness, don't I? I'll freeze your yang energy into popsicles when it dries up in my palace. Feng Yuan sighed, how comfortable it would be to sleep with Luo on this hot day. Bai Luo muttered, speaking like that, I really want you to sleep with me, but you're not willing to. A coward with a lecherous heart but no lecherous courage. Counseling goods. Feng Yuan couldn't bear to hear this. He wrapped his hand around Bai Luo's slender waist and directly pulled her into his arms. It was cool and soft to the touch. If it weren't for this female fairy eating people, Feng Yuan would really want to hold her and have a good sleep. Bai Luo was startled by Feng Yuan's sudden move, but quickly regained his composure and snuggled up next to the man obediently. Good opportunity, we need to seize it and let him go further. Feng Yuan, do you know how to take photos? Every time I see photos taken by your girlfriend on your social media, they look so beautiful. Feng Yuan nodded and said, a little bit, but she gave me the camera. I also want to find someone to take photos of my COS private room, but I can't trust those rogue photographers on the market at all. Bai Luo let out a long sigh and said, it's really nice to be a wealthy lady. If only I had the money to give you a Feng Yuan camera. This palace's suggestion is so obvious that he shouldn't be unable to understand it, right? When you come to take a private photo of my palace, I don't believe you're a cat that doesn't steal any fish. Feng Yuan did not continue the topic with Bai Luo's intention, but curiously asked, Luo, are you short of money? Can one still lack money at this age? Have you been living in a dog's belly for 3,000 years? Upon hearing Feng Yuan mention money, Bai Luo looked sorrowful and said, if I don't lack money, how can I work part-time every day in college? 20 years ago, when our palace went down the mountain, your human society had already been overturned. It would be too difficult to earn some money. Seriously, the only time he used his cultivation to earn some tuition fees, he almost attracted a group of elderly and immortal descendants, old and immortal descendants. Feng Yuan was overjoyed. There were indeed people in the world who the fox spirit was afraid of. I had to find them as soon as possible in order to completely escape from Bai Luo's hands. You can procrastinate for a day now, to avoid her jumping over the wall with your own dog. Feng Yuan, when you break up with your girlfriend, will you return the camera she gave you? Seeing that Feng Yuan did not respond, Bai Luo began to continue hinting. Luo, do you want me to take a private photo of you? Feng Yuan couldn't figure out why she had to make such a big detour. She's already an old fox for 3,000 years, so why bother pretending? Bai Luoluo didn't expect Feng Yuan to be so straightforward. After hesitating for a while, he pretended to be reserved and replied, "Others are definitely not good, but if it's Feng Yuan, it's not. You can't consider." The man has indeed taken the bait. Feng Yuan's mouth curved upwards and said, "Since you have said so, why don't we choose a day instead of a collision? Let's just go today." "So fast? Don't you want to fall?" "No, no, no. I'll go back and get my clothes." "Go ahead, I'll wait for you at the south gate of the school." Bai Luoluo ran back halfway, then cautiously returned to confirm. "Feng Yuan, your girlfriend." Feng Yuan patted his chest and promised, "Don't worry, she will definitely not come and stir things up today." Half an hour later, the two of them took a ride-hailing service and arrived at the office building on the first floor of the city center. As soon as the elevator door opened on the 16th floor, a woman in loose sportswear, aged 35.6, was already waiting at the door. "Xiao Feng. Sister Hua." Feng Yuan and Hua Jia gave a polite hug, then pushed Bai Luoluo forward and said, "Hua Jia, this is my model for today. Are you ready for the studio?" Sister Hua nodded with a smile and said, "Can I be negligent when you speak? I happen to be the only one in the company with a few small models, as most people went out on location today. This is a large photography studio of a modeling agency, with Hua Jia as the boss. She has over 100 models in her hands, both domestically and internationally. Her main clients are online clothing stores, and occasionally she deals with big brand businesses. As for how she got to know Feng Yuan, it's thanks to a roommate from Feng Yuan who likes tender cows and old grass. Sister Hua, haven't you come to long to see you these past few days? He is busy preparing for the final exam. After he finishes, we plan to go abroad for a few days. Hey, it's great to have a wealthy woman take care of it. Come on, your family is richer than me. Does she know that you came out to cheat?" The two of them chatted and walked inside, with one beautiful woman after another along the way, each with fair skin, beautiful waist, slender legs, and several blonde-haired and blue-eyed foreigners who had left their hometowns to make a living. Bai Luoluo followed behind the two as a mute-eating yellow lotus. "Why are you so professional? Can't you find a small hotel to take photos? There are so many people. How can this palace take action?" After sending the two of them into a studio, Sister Hua pulled up the door curtain and turned around to leave, accompanied by a reminder. "Take a photo and don't make too much noise. If you mess up my studio, you'll have to pay a cleaning fee." Farewell to Sister Hua. Seeing Bai Luoluo stunned and motionless, Feng Yuan took the initiative to ask, "Are you ready, Luoluo?" Bai Luoluo stuttered and said, "You. Why don't we just forget about it today?" "No way, with so many people, once something happens, it will definitely attract the immortal descendants. What Feng Yuan wants is this effect," with the camera's mouth slightly raised. "It's okay, take it off." 8. Good luck, foxes eat chicken. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Within a studio of less than 20 square meters, there is a pile of pink furniture, along with photography props such as tripods and fill lights, with almost no place to rest. Even though the space was small, Feng Yuan didn't make any moves to back out or turn around, just staring straight at Bai Luoluo, as if asking, "I'm all ready, why don't you take it off yet?" The fill light reflects on the pink-themed furniture, reflecting a charming and ambiguous taste in the air. Bai Luoluo tightly grips her skirt with both hands, and her beautiful face turns red, whether she is angry or embarrassed. This palace will sooner or later shatter your body into countless pieces. Feng Yuan had already heard several ways of dying in Bai Luoluo's heart, from being frightened at the beginning to gradually getting used to it now, and was eagerly looking forward to the next time. "Luoluo, are you unwilling? I thought we both." "No, no, no." This time, I will endure it and let him taste some sweetness in advance. Bai Luoluo waved his hand repeatedly and said, Feng Yuan, we agreed to only take photos. There are a lot of people outside, and I dare not use my martial arts. I must not let him take my body at this moment, of course, what else can we do? Feng Yuan's smile intensified, and his gaze began to wander on Bai Luoluo. Fairy ankles, smooth collarbones, long black hair, and pink lips. But the playability is still very high. After receiving the guarantee from Feng Yuan, Bai Luoluo took out the prepared suit from the suitcase and slowly opened the zipper of the long dress. A few seconds later, the long dress slipped and fell to the ground, revealing his soft jade-like body in front of the man, with only a few pieces of pure white fabric remaining as the only cover. Wearing such plain clothes is really quite traditional. Feng Yuan raised his camera with a click. You. Why are you taking photos now? Isn't this stinky man trying to threaten our palace with photos? Seeing Bai Luoluo's urgent eyes, Feng Yuan quickly comforted him and said, leave a memorial. Rest assured that Luoluo will not be spread. Ninja. After this palace absorbs his yang energy, find a way to destroy the data. Bai Luoluo calmed down and started wearing the suit. The character is Miss Gwen, the first little roasted chicken in Yunding that has been on fire for the past few months. Due to someone standing next to her, Bai Luoluo's movements of putting on clothes have become quite stiff, and the sound of shutter clicking occasionally rings in her ears. After putting on the entire outfit, putting on a wig and putting on makeup, Bai Luoluo took out the props from his suitcase and made 2 clicks of scissors at the air, as if venting some resentment. After the task is completed, should I first cut off his disgusting thing and feed it to the dog in this palace? Feng Yuan felt a chill under his crotch. Good, you wicked witch. After everything was ready, Feng Yuan began to command the white falling movement. Lie down on that chair, lift your legs up a bit. The left foot stockings can be slightly removed below the knee. A little hazy in my eyes, that's it. Under the command of Feng Yuan, Miss Gwen's movements gradually became bold and unrestrained, and Feng Yuan's camera gradually moved closer, almost hitting Bai Luoluo's face in the end. After a crisp shutter sound, without waiting for Bai Luoluo to react, Feng Yuan put down his camera and suddenly lowered his head, biting her pink lips tightly. Bai Luoluo's pupils dilate, leaving his mind blank. Half a minute later, Feng Yuan finally heard her voice. The first kiss of this palace. This palace must kill you. Kill you. Kill you, completely unprepared, woo 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 woo. Calm down, this palace needs to remain calm, otherwise the first kiss will be in vain. Upon hearing these words, Feng Yuan began to make progress and climbed onto Miss Gwen's striped black silk thighs with both hands, vigorously rubbing and kneading them until they were about to touch the dangerous area. Bai Luoluo suddenly woke up and pushed Feng Yuan away with force. Feng Yuan, didn't we agree to only take photos? Luoluo, you're too beautiful, I can't help it. This is a studio. If you want to do something, we can move to a different location. Sorry for falling. Feng Yuan apologized and walked back to Bai Luoluo, looking down at the fox demon curled up on the sofa, breathing uncontrollably. Luoluo, why not? Feng Yuan reached out and gently caressed the moist pink lips he had just kissed, as if smiling. Leaving the studio and arriving at the front desk, Feng Yuan settled the rental fee with Sister Hua. 3 hours, let's say you're 500. Sister Hua handed the bill to Feng Yuan and curiously asked, where's your model? Why didn't you see her come out? The next second, Hua Jia saw Bai Luoluo, who had not even changed her suit, cover her mouth and rush into the bathroom, accompanied by a burst of dry nausea and the sound of water flowing. You. Hua Jia shook her head inside, but she was not interested in meddling in other people's private affairs. After collecting the money and settling the bill, she waved to send Feng Yuan away. Feng Yuan didn't hurry to leave and turned to look at the group of female models and asked, Sister Hua, you have a wide network. Can you help me find a third and fourth-tier actress who looks in her 40s and has decent acting skills? Sister Hua warned, what do you want? I warn you not to think of the people under my command. I'm not Aaron, I'm not interested in the old lady, I just need to do something. When meeting the fraudster at the end of Zhang Xiaoyun, Feng Yuan dare not let his own mother come in person and needs to find an actor to deal with it. Who old aunt are you scolding? Look at my mouth, don't worry about me. Just tell Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com if you have it, Sister Hua. I'll help you ask, I can't guarantee it. Hua Jia agreed, but Feng Yuan didn't say much. After Bai Luoluo changed clothes from the bathroom and came out, the two of them took the elevator downstairs together. Miss Fox Demon is probably really angry. She stood in the elevator without saying a word, her fox-like eyes slightly red. She should have been hiding in the bathroom and crying secretly just now. Seeing her appearance, Feng Yuan felt a little guilty for a moment and said, I haven't had lunch yet. Luoluo, what do you want to eat? It's my treat. Bai Luoluo turned his head and didn't want to bother Feng Yuan at all. What to eat? My palace's mouth is full of that flavor now. 3,000 years ago, it was the first time anyone dared to force this palace to do such a thing. You wait, my palace will cook you in a pot for 3 days and 3 nights to regenerate, swallow and peel. After hearing that he had another way of dying, Feng Yuan's guilt dissipated in his heart, and he muttered to himself that the foolish fox's mind was not good and his logic was also chaotic. Can cooking for 3 days and 3 nights still be called eating raw and peeling? It happens to be Crazy Thursday, why don't we go eat KFC? Feng Yuan deliberately lengthened his tone, and when he heard the white drop of a certain keyword, his chest felt a surge of nausea. Intentionally, this stinky man must be intentional. At the moment when the elevator door opened on the first floor, Bai Luoluo covered his mouth again and rushed towards the restroom, leaving a shadow in his mind that could not be erased. Feng Yuan watched her fleeing figure from afar, secretly pondering the feeling of manipulating Miss Gwen's double ponytails, and contemplating finding that female fraudster another day to try. Ah Chio. Zhang Xiaoyun, who was painting in the art room, suddenly sneezed and his scalp tingled. 9 Northeast Big Girl. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the blink of an eye, it was the weekend again, and Feng Yuan rode his bicycle to Feng Kai's car wash shop. From afar, he saw Zhang Xiaoyun washing the vehicle with a water gun, chatting and laughing with Feng Kai beside him. After Feng approached, Zhang Xiaoyun bounced and waved at him, still looking like his energetic canine girlfriend. Xiaoyun, Uncle Feng. Feng Yuan walked over and greeted him softly, raising his hand to pinch Zhang Xiaoyun's pink and tender face. This subconscious intimate gesture had already been a habit he had developed in the past 2 years. Zhang Xiaoyun grumbled and complained, I hate it. One day, their face will be squeezed and swollen by you. Stinky man, is my mother's face so easy to pinch? Upon hearing this, Feng Yuan slightly increased his strength. Woo 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 woo. After Zhang Xiaoyun sobbed for a while, Feng Yuan finally showed mercy and let her go. Feng Kai couldn't bear to watch the young couple flirting, so he pulled Feng Yuan aside. I said Xiaofeng, Xiaoyun is a good girl. Why do you keep bullying her? Uncle Feng, are you? Feng Yuan was secretly shocked. In just a few days, Zhang Xiaoyun was able to ask Feng Kai to change his stance and speak for her. Feng Kai spoke earnestly and said, Xiaoyun has been working with me for several days. From my perspective, she doesn't have any big lady temper. She works hard and doesn't complain, and she is also well behaved and sensible, which makes me feel embarrassed. Listen to uncle, don't be fooled by such a good wife. It's almost enough. Uncle is waiting to drink your wedding wine. Okay, uncle. Feng Yuan rubbed his temples with a headache. It seemed that he hadn't noticed anything wrong with Zhang Xiaoyun for 2 years. It wasn't because he wasn't vigilant enough, but because Zhang Xiaoyun was too capable of intimidating people. If they had met their parents, they would probably have had a strong liking for their daughter. Law here. Today happened to be the day for salary settlement. As Feng Kai did not sign a contract and directly transferred money through WX, Zhang Xiaoyun, who received the money, jumped up to Feng Yuan with a bright smile and shook his phone. Hee. Far away, I'll pay my salary. What are we going to have for lunch? It's my treat. Feng Yuan asked curiously, Xiaoyun, is this your first time making money on your own today? Of course. Zhang Xiaoyun responded loudly, showing a surge of pride on his face, just like a young lady experiencing the fruits of labor for the first time in her life. I've been washing dishes and serving dishes since I was 8 years old. It's not your turn, young master, to teach me how to make ends meet. Upon hearing his inner voice, Feng Yuan marveled at Zhang Xiaoyun's outstanding acting skills, but suddenly felt an inexplicable sense of disappointment in his heart. Everything presented by the girl in front of her is illusory, and perhaps the only true feelings for herself are probably begging for mercy on the bed that Mercedes-Benz was said to have been sold, and now their means of transportation has become Feng Yuan's bicycle. Zhang Xiaoyun wrapped his hands around Feng Yuan in the back seat, and the summer afternoon breeze swayed the girl's deep blue skirt. She leaned her body against the man and whispered, "It's been a long time since we went to the movies together." I didn't hear anything from my heart, indicating that it was my true thoughts. Feng Yuan responded, "Are you going to a private cinema?" Zhang Xiaoyun shook his head and said, "Damn it. I'm not going. When you get to that place, your hands and feet are not clean at all. Can an old lady still watch a movie in a private cinema? I can go to the cinema and feel as clean as my hands and feet. Far away, I just want you to accompany me to watch a good movie, can't you?" Line by line. Feng Yuan nodded and agreed, taking Zhang Xiaoyun to the nearest cinema. Buy movie tickets, pair them with a set of 2 pieces of cola and popcorn, and walk into the screening hall hand in hand. The movie is a new film by old strategist, and this great director's reputation has plummeted in the past 2 years. I don't know how many years he can continue to make it. Feng Yuan originally wanted to change the film, but Zhang Xiaoyun insisted on choosing it, which made Feng Yuan think she was a fan of Zhang Dao. Until the moment the movie opened, looking at the scene of heavy snow, Feng Yuan's thoughts came to his mind. It was indeed taken in my hometown. I really want to go back and see the snow scenery in my hometown in winter, but I'm afraid there won't be any future in this life once the scam is successful. All 5 members of the team will take the money and flee abroad, and it is unpredictable whether they will return or not. If you want to go home to visit relatives after taking money, you are simply impatient. Feng Yuan silently opened his phone and found out that the filming location of the crew was in the northern ice city. He then sent the information to Wu Er. After the movie ended, the 2 of them followed the crowd and left, with Zhang Xiaoyun leaning on Feng Yuan's arm. "Yuan, why are you so honest today? It's strange that even sitting in the last row, I didn't even touch my mother." Feng Yuan smiled and said, "I see you're so serious, I don't want to disturb you. You still have some conscience." Zhang Xiaoyun gently swayed Feng Yuan's arm and continued to act coquettishly. "Far away, what will we have for dinner later?" Feng Yuan said, "I heard there's a newly opened chain store recently, which came from Ice City. Let's go and give it a try." "Ah. Good." Zhang Xiaoyun was stunned for a while before nodding repeatedly, his smile even stronger. "I haven't tried my hometown cuisine for a long time. I'm not sure if it's authentic." I waited until the restaurant and realized that there were still quite a few people, with people in the 70s and 80s still queuing up. During the waiting time, a waiter came over to distribute some small snacks and performed a duet to liven up the atmosphere and stabilize the customers from leaving. The related performances have recently gained a lot of popularity on local short videos, attracting a lot of traffic to the store. Zhaozuiyuan.com. Because the staff came from the main store in Ice City, the waiter's mouth was full of a strong sense of sarcasm, and the performance was in the form of interactive teasing like a duet. Hey mommy, little sister is really handsome. Who is that handsome guy next to you? As the most attractive couple in the crowd, the waiter naturally approached Feng Yuan for a joke. My man. After hearing the local accent for a long time, Zhang Xiaoyun couldn't help but relax his guard for a moment, and a northeastern dialect with the same strong flavor popped out of his mouth. Hey, still a fellow villager. The waiter continued to joke, why don't I believe he's your man? So, kiss him and let everyone take a look. Are you so embarrassed? Look at that little face, it's so embarrassed. If you don't take action again, little sister, I'll have to doubt your legitimate relationship. The people around him were also driven by the atmosphere and began to applaud and coax. After hesitating for a while, Zhang Xiaoyun turned his head and lightly pecked Feng Yuan's face. The waiter took the lead in applauding and said, come on, everyone, give a round of applause and wish the young couple 100 years of good luck. After thunderous applause, the waiter's teasing came to an end. For interactive performances like this two-person turn, the person in charge of the scene must be meticulous in their movements and not make jokes too much to embarrass the guests. The shyness dissipated slightly, and Zhang Xiaoyun felt a sense of pride when he saw that Feng Yuan's gaze was still dull. He's not still feeling embarrassed, is he? Ha ha ha. Feng Yuan, who heard Zhang Xiaoyun's inner voice, slightly regained his senses and once again raised his hand to knead her pink and tender little face. Xiaoyun, aren't you from the south? You speak well in northeast China. Zhang Xiaoyun was momentarily stunned, letting Feng Yuan knead his face, with only 2 words in his heart. Damn it. 10. Daily weekends for college student couples. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Until he entered the restaurant and started eating, Zhang Xiaoyun's heart remained uneasy. What should I do? Did he say that just now intentionally or unintentionally we need to find a way to make up for it and not make him suspicious as the food was served? Zhang Xiaoyun's thoughts slowed slightly as he smelled the aroma of the food. Looking at the table full of hometown dishes, he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Goblin-A, iron pot stewed goose, chicken stewed mushroom, and demoli stewed fish. I haven't eaten them even a few times in Ice City. This red sausage has a beautiful color, it tastes delicious at first glance. Anyway, let's eat until we're full. Just as Zhang Xiaoyun was preparing to put down her chopsticks, her long-maintained vigilance caused her to suddenly pause. No, at this point, it's absolutely not possible to show that my mother likes to eat northeastern cuisine, as it will further exacerbate his suspicion. Half of the chopsticks were slowly retracted, and Zhang Xiaoyun's face showed disdain. Feng Yuan deliberately asked, why don't you like Xiaoyun? Zhang Xiaoyun shook his head and said, you know I'm from Suzhou and Hangzhou, and northeastern cuisine looks boring. This sour and sweet pot bun is crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, it's so fragrant. Feng Yuan chewed with a satisfied expression on his face and pretended to say, I've ordered everything. Xiaoyun, why don't you take a few bites? Zhang Xiaoyun continued to swallow saliva, still shaking his head resolutely. Ninja. 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 No big deal, next time I'll eat by myself. Feng Yuan began to continue teasing. This Mali stewed fish is very fresh. The fish is smooth and tender, and the noodles and tofu are also solid. You can tell at a taste that it's handmade. And this little chicken stewed with mushrooms. The waiter just said it's a chicken and wild mushrooms raised in the Daxing-Anling Mountains. It's really delicious. Hey yo, no wonder others say that Bingqing red sausage is delicious and not boring at all. Waiter, give me a bottle of Harbin beer, and I'll have to drink the red sausage. Every time Feng Yuan commented on a dish, Zhang Xiaoyun swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Despite not eating authentic hometown dishes for over 2 years or almost 3 years, she couldn't help but pick up her chopsticks again. Just a little taste, it's okay. I'll have 1 pot of pork, just 1. Without waiting for her chopsticks to fall, Feng Yuan reached out and moved the entire plate of fried pork in front of him. Since you look bored, Xiaoyun, let me handle it alone. I'll make you a bowl of instant noodles when I get back to the apartment. Zhang Xiaoyun swallowed another mouthful of saliva and forcefully squeezed out a word, good, from between his teeth. Feng Yuan, who was full of food and drink, lay on the chair, burping heavily and reached out to the waiter to come and pay the bill. Coincidentally, it was the same person who performed the duet in the rest area just now. The waiter enthusiastically said, "Hey sister, our local cuisine in the store is still authentic, isn't it?" Zhang Xiaoyun quickly denied that. "I'm not from Northeast China." "Don't tease my sister, you just spoke more fluently in Northeast China than my mother." "It's really not true. I've just seen too many skits, it's easy to say." "Is that so?" The service industry still knows how to look at the eyes. Seeing Zhang Xiaoyun, he was already in a hurry. The waiter didn't dare to ask any more questions and handed the bill to Feng Yuan while promoting, "Handsome guy, do you want to apply for a VIP card? You can get 300 yuan for 1,000, and you can also get a 15% discount on future purchases." "Okay." Feng Yuan reported his phone number and reminded him, "Remember our faces, no matter who comes to the store for consumption in the future, just deduct the money directly." The waiter followed suit and flattered, "Of course, you two are so handsome, so beautiful, how can I forget?" Upon hearing the compliments from the other party, Zhang Xiaoyun felt extremely disheartened, as if she would send a text message to Feng Yuan's phone whenever she came over for dinner in the future, completely extinguishing her hope of sneaking over alone. "Forget it, I don't believe this is the only Northeast restaurant in the city." Leaving the restaurant, Feng Yuan, who was so exhausted, rode his bicycle and still hiccuped all the way. The smell drifted into Zhang Xiaoyun's nostrils in the back seat, making her stomach growl. "I'm so hungry, I really want to eat goblin-A." Zhang Xiaoyun covered his stomach with both hands and leaned weakly against Feng Yuan's back. When his thoughts reached Feng Yuan's mind, they inexplicably made him feel a hint of heartache. "No, no, you can't pity a female scammer." Feng Yuan shook his head to keep himself awake, and quickened his pace as he hurried back to the apartment. Before going upstairs, the two usually purchase sufficient supplies at the 24-hour convenience store downstairs to ensure they don't have to go out all weekend, and as for meals, they rely entirely on takeout. The current situation of pure college student couples on weekends. Arriving at the front desk to check out, Zhang Xiaoyun habitually took out a box of small umbrellas and threw them to the salesperson, but they were sealed off and thrown back onto the shelf. Zhang Xiaoyun was also hesitant to mention the topic of privacy between couples in front of outsiders, until they walked into the elevator side by side before she put on a serious face. "Far away, I don't want to take medicine. Today, I have to show my attitude and make money." It's not a problem for him to continue causing trouble like this. Feng Yuan didn't expect Zhang Xiaoyun's rebellion to come so quickly, so straightforward, and his eyebrows slightly furrowed. In Zhang Xiaoyun's eyes, he thought it was a sign of anger from a man, so he came up with an excuse he had already prepared. "Far away, I want to be with you for a long time, and even more so, I want to have a healthy baby for you. If I take medicine like this every day, what should I do if my body has some problems?" "Mother, I've said it that way. You can have some conscience, stinky man." Feng Yuan couldn't help but sneer and didn't respond to Zhang Xiaoyun. After the elevator arrived, he walked straight back to the apartment. Zhang Xiaoyun didn't feel at ease following behind him, but instead began to worry whether he had offended Feng Yuan. "Even if I force my mother to take medicine, you can still give me a reaction at least, stinky man, should he be so stingy." Returning to the apartment, Zhang Xiaoyun went to the book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com and had a simple bite of instant noodles. After that, Zhang Xiaoyun ran to the bathroom to take a shower, then changed into a white boyfriend shirt and came to the living room. The wide hem barely covers the buttocks, and the dim yellow light and shadow reflect on the translucent fabric, outlining a graceful curve. The white silk stockings below the hem exude a pink and tender skin, creating a fleshy feel on the plump thighs. She sat on the sofa and extended her feet to Feng Yuan's chest, her 10 jade toes wrapped in white silk beginning to move restlessly. The old lady is so sincere. You should give some reaction, stinky man. You're not still angry about what happened just now, are you? On weekdays, Zhang Xiaoyun rarely wears stockings, especially knee-high stockings, which are said to cause pain in her thighs. Today, she is really trying to compromise for fear of Feng Yuan getting angry. Feng Yuan, who was provoked to anger, quickly put down his phone and grabbed Zhang Xiaoyun's white silk ankle with one hand, pulling her whole body in front of him. Feng Yuan's movements were effortless, and Zhang Xiaoyun felt his entire body ache from being pulled. His wet long hair wrapped in a headscarf instantly spread over the sofa. Wait a moment, let me take the medicine. Take your medicine as soon as you take it. Can you take it lightly? Zhang Xiaoyun turned to pick up the pills from the coffee table, but was thrown into the trash can by Feng Yuan with a wave of his hand. Since eating is not good for your health, then don't eat. What does it mean? Before Zhang Xiaoyun could ask what was going on, Feng Yuan rudely pulled off a piece of white silk from her, kneaded it into a ball and tightly blocked her mouth. He then leaned over her ear and passionately brushed her earlobe. Since you want to give birth to me, what difference does it make sooner or later? Is that right, Xiaoyun?